Look at those white blocks. Where's the OGS? White player. Game finished. Black player. Game finished. Okay, so apparently that's just completely unnecessary during a game review. Okay, so transition that. Are you white or black? Are you white or black? First thing I should figure out. Oh, you're black. Okay, you said it. Okay, you are black. There's a center there. Okay, so apparently, there's a. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, for future reference for you guys, I'm harshly spoken, so don't take it personally, because apparently this is a thing today. I have harsh comments. Don't take it personally. I'm not nearly as harsh as I sound. I'm just strongly spoken. Okay, so you're black. Ooh, this is interesting. This one I wouldn't recommend unless you study it. Unless you studied like the variations, because it can, if white plays this way, it's super, super, super complicated. So I would recommend this if you study it. But I don't recommend it if you haven't studied it, because it's too complicated and too easy to make a mistake, right? So I'd recommend something else. The most commonly found move here is here. And of course, we go into this variation, right? And the simple one, let me make sure I don't mess up the simple one. It's this and this and this, and then this, and this, and then this, and then this, and that. I say simple. Maybe it's relative. I think it's here now, right? Or is it just here? I think it's just here. And then ladder. Oh wait, no, then ladder breaker, sorry. Then ladder breaker. Here. And then here. And then something. Okay, maybe you don't like this one. That's also fine. Then there's this one, which is super, super simple, but slightly good for white. This is considered slightly good for white, but it's super simple, and I sometimes prefer this one. If I think the advantage for white's only like 2 or 4 points, so it's not that big versus the complications that can follow. But I also like this one better as well, so I play that one. Anywho, I recommend, if you're gonna play Josekis like this one or the Large Knight's move or something like that, make sure you know the variations. Make sure that you've studied them. Otherwise, it's very easy to mess up and die. Usually, your opponent will not make a mistake before you, because usually the responses for your opponent are easier since they were there first. But if you've studied it, then there's a chance that your opponent will mess it up, or you'll get the result that you want, like the result that you expected when you studied. So I highly recommend studying these Josekis before playing them. All right, so he played here. Nope. Joseki's no be back, right? And then attach on the inside. If I'm not mistaken, whoop, that's backwards. Hold on. White played, then black plays, and then white plays, and then black plays. Sorry, I did that backwards. Anyway, that's a Joseki. But is this a Joseki? I don't think it is. I don't play it. If it is a Joseki, I don't play it. No, this result's good for white. White's corner is too large, and black's influence is not that big. So this is good for white. In other words, this Joseki's wrong. This is not Joseki. This is good for white. So make sure you look it up later or study it beforehand before playing something like that because it's really complicated and your opponent's going to get a good result if you don't study it. So make sure you study it. Either in books or just Wikipedias or asking people. And I just showed what the actual variation was. So, okay, I made sure to show. There is a cutting point. Is that okay to fix a cutting point? No, probably not. There's no good way to fix a cutting point. If it were me, probably I would exchange this and then just go here. And if they do this, then I could just jump and maybe sacrifice 2 stones. I don't think white's going to cut immediately. There's still a cut. So since there's still a cut, I don't think it fixes. So I don't think it does its job. Which means it's kind of a move in the center, but to develop your influence, then go to... Just look them up after each game, or before each game. Yeah, so I would recommend those 2 links, or buy Joseki books, because that's actually what I did. I don't buy many Go books, but, well, I say don't buy many, and I have like 20. But I do buy a lot of reference guides. So I have 4 books with opening variations. I have the original 3 books for Joseki, and then the 21st century Joseki, 2 books, and then 3 other books of the new 21st century shapes and patterns, which is Joseki and openings. So in total, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books I have on just the Joseki and Fuseki alone. And I'm still missing like 2 more that I'm trying to get. So I highly recommend getting yourself reference guides or using those free Joseki dictionaries, just because it's something that's studyable. So it's not something that should be a problem in your game. A Joseki should not be a weakness because you can study it. If it's a weakness, it just means you're not studying it, right? And so that shouldn't be a problem in your game. If you want to improve your game, then you should study. So if you study and it's studyable, then study it, master it, and it's no longer a weakness. It's very easy to do that compared to mastering theories, like attack and defense theories, Moyo theories, or something like that. It's much more difficult. And reading is also something that's difficult to improve. So something as easy as the Joseki should not be a weakness because it's studyable. So make sure you study it, because you want as little weaknesses in your game as possible, or as little mistakes in your game as possible. And that's one of the easiest things to knock out, is just basic variations. So I would study that. Anyway, this move doesn't do its job, so I feel like it's kind of in the center, not doing what it's supposed to do, so it's not good. An attachment here, I will say this attachment's almost never good. I would say like 80% of the time, this attachment's never good. Is it good here? Well, honestly, this looks like a weak group to me, right? So a weak group needs a base. I would make a base. I would pincer and make a base. And then when white goes here, then maybe I would make an influence, right? This result's good for white, but you know, you have to survive first. Then you can worry about catching back up. But if you play this attachment, then maybe your influence is facing the wrong direction, because this is still, you owe a move over here and white might get it first. This group doesn't have a base and white might take the territory. So normally it's not good. Here you're going to have an empty triangle. And if it was me, I probably would just do this. Would I go up and out? Maybe I wouldn't do this. Would I extend up? That feels slow. Oops. No, go back. Here. I want that one. So black goes here. Maybe you can surround. Maybe this is good enough for white. Because you canceled the influence, and black's only getting the territory, and he still doesn't have that base. Maybe this is okay. Alright, so here we see this, but now black got a very big corner, which is true. Black did get a corner. but black also has a weak group in the top left. So if you play this way, it says, I'm going to fix the weak group after I take the points. This is a little aggressive, and I feel like all you have to do is fix the weakness, and then you got the corner territory, right? And maybe it's an even game if white doesn't like get profit by attacking you. However, if you do something like this, white can easily run away while attacking your group, and then all of a sudden you're in a bad position, right? So make sure you watch your weaknesses first. Weaknesses are important. As we saw in my games, weaknesses are important. Those things are huge. So high move, I recommend low because you want Sente on top. Normally high, it owes one more move. So let's say we play a basic Joseki like this. You owe one more move. Oh, you did play this. Okay. So yeah, you know you owe one more move. It's just the top scene's kind of important. This is strange because it doesn't have a 2-space extension anywhere, and it doesn't really threaten anything, so it's kind of just floating there. If you want to go in, normally you go in with as a Knight's Approach here, a Knight's Approach here, or an attachment here or something that has multiple ways to go. How do beginners learn Josekis? One at a time. That is how you learn Josekis. One at a time. First, learn the basic approach variation. So we're at move 34. Okay. First, learn the approach. Learn the most basic variation in the world. Right? And star point. Learn the most basic variation in the world. Right? And then maybe your opponent pincers with a 1-space pincer. Okay. Then we learn one. One Joseki. Right? Okay. And then we learn the second part of that Joseki, which is if they block this way. Right? Okay. And then maybe we learn the 1-space pincer with the Komaku. Right? We play this. And then we can play the simple one here. Right? Just one at a time. That's how you learn. When your opponent plays it and you don't know it, just look it up after the game. Just learn it one at a time. That's the best advice I can give you. For learning Josekis, one at a time is the way to go. There's thousands of them, but there's no rush. When you play a game and your opponent plays a variation you don't know, look it up. So just learn one Joseki at a time. Then, when you're playing an opening or you're studying, right? Let's say you're studying. Well, when you're playing an opening, you're going to be like, okay, what ideas or what approaches would my opponent probably do? Well, let's say I play this variation. Okay, most likely my opponent's going to approach high or low, right? But the high is more common. So I'll start with the high because that's the most common one I'll see. Then I'll learn Joseki number 1. Then I'll learn Joseki number 2. Then I'll learn Joseki number 3, right? Just one at a time. Start with the ones that are likely to come up in your game and then proceed from there. So which ones come up in your games, learn those first. Then whichever ones you encounter that you didn't expect, learn those next because they came up in your games. You just didn't know they were a variation, but now you do because your opponent played it. So look it up. And then you have to learn the variations that are commonly found in your opponent's positions. So a way to think about it is, if I'm white and my opponent plays these different openings, what variations do I have that are possible? And in order to find out which Josekis to study for the most common openings, you review pro games. When you review the pro games, you'll see what openings are in style. Then you'll see some Josekis. Which Josekis do the pros choose? Okay. Then you look it up, what Joseki options are available for that type of move that the pro played, and then try to figure out why they played that specific Joseki over the others. And it sounds like a lot. At the end of the day, it sounds like a lot of stuff to do. But if you just take it one at a time, one Joseki at a time, then you're good. Just take it step by step. You're not going to learn Josekis overnight. You're not going to learn Josekis in a month. You're going to learn Josekis over a long period of time by doing it little by little by little. So just learn it one at a time. That's the best way to do it. All right, so where are we at? Move 35. All right, so this one's a little bit light, so it's kind of easy for it to counter. If I was white, I would steal the base, and then maybe surround. And just chase it, and then go in here. Something like that. So, step 1, take the base. White did it. I don't like this shape, though. That's why I attacked from the other side. And you went Moyo. So maybe that's your combination. That's your combination. But then what if white goes this way? What's your combination? Is it here? Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible. If you have a plan, then you can play moves like these. But if you don't have a plan, then it looks a little bit strange. So I said strange, but if you had a plan, then just tell me your plan, because I didn't see it, obviously. But if you had a plan, then okay, then that's justifiable, right? Because as you just saw, I just said if this is okay, and if white goes here, this is okay, well, then maybe it's not a bad move. But when I just look at it just like this, it looks weird. But if you have a plan, then maybe it's okay. So maybe this move is okay, because white got a weird position, you got some influence, so maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. But normally, more normal, you would see something like this, or something like this, or something like this. Just for future reference. But if you had a good plan, then that's better than what I said, because I just didn't see the plan. This looks really dangerous, because remember when I said you're not alive up there? Because white took your base, but now you have a bunch of knights moves. White's solid everywhere, so what if white pushes up and cuts? And plays this way. This is starting to look really dangerous for black. Black has some weak groups here, a weak group here, and a weak group here. So this is looking dangerous for black. So maybe this plan isn't so good, because in this way, it looks like, okay, now it's fine, because white just fixed it. But it looked a little bit dangerous, so make sure you watch your weak groups and watch your weaknesses. All right, so the two things I can see from this game just so far. I can see that you need to study Josekis, but I told you how to do that. And you need to fix your weaknesses first. So look at the Clossi approach and check your weaknesses before you play. The way to look at weaknesses is, do you have a base? Do you have eye space? Do you have multiple ways out? Can your opponent gain a lot from attacking you? And if that's yes, then it's weak. Do you have cutting points? Stuff like this. So make sure you're fixing your weaknesses first, because it looks like you're ignoring your weaknesses. And if your opponents were a bit stronger, they would really punish you for that. So make sure you watch those weaknesses. Kick here. I wouldn't recommend the kick here. I'd recommend a descend, due to the fact that if he blocks and you ignore, the best he's going to get is this, and you can just counter attach and sacrifice. Right? Here's that variation. But if you kick, I'm highly I'm highly concerned about this move. This is Aji. It might not work immediately. It doesn't look like it does anything immediately, but I'm concerned about it because it's Aji. And I feel like the other one doesn't have nearly as much Aji as this one. So what if, for example, I play here, here, and threaten the cuts, and let's say I have a stone here, right? Because this is later in the game. Let's say I eventually get a stone here, and I get this. What if this becomes Sente? Maybe I can come up with something here. Oh, what if you block? Maybe I can cut. Maybe, I don't think it works immediately though. Maybe this does. That Panuki's stupid though, so don't do that. Point is, there's Aji, and I feel like the Aji's a little questionable to have. So normally, in this shape, a descent is better. It's easier to deal with, less Aji. All right, you go here. So against this 2-space extension, there is a side Joseki. Against this, there is this move, and then jump back. This is the way to develop a Moyo against that shape. It's kind of a side Joseki, right? So against this, this is the move. This is not as good as the other one because white can jump, white can push in, or white can just ignore it altogether and just jump in. So this one isn't nearly as forceful on white. So it develops the center a little bit smaller and less, little bit smaller and less forceful on white. So less sente, I guess. This, however, is much bigger and much more solid and stronger. So this is the side Joseki you want to choose here. However, I think maybe it's not time to do it because you have a weakness at M3. So if you play this way, white can come in M3 and still live. There's still weakness here. So I would recommend fixing that 3-space extension and then threaten to do it. So maybe white has to do this now, right? And then threaten to do it. And once you threaten to do it, well, then you can go do something else. Maybe start a ko here, or maybe you still develop a position. Or maybe you can play here and then exchange, force this on white, and then get an attachment here. But maybe this is getting a little too complex. Anyway, the side Joseki is this. All right, so I think I gave you a lot of stuff to think about from this game. So I want to go ahead and stop it here because overloading you with information is never a good idea. So I think, oh really? That's cool, Cosmic. I think just think about the advice, practice the stuff I told you, and look at the stuff I told you, and try and apply that in your next game. And I think that should help. That should help as is. Any more than this, and I think you'll start forgetting stuff. So I don't want to go too far into it. So we're going to go ahead and call this review here. So hopefully you found that review helpful, and thanks for submitting it. Okay. Intermission. Blah, blah. There we go. Go ahead and close that one. All right, and I think we have time for one more if anyone has one right on hand. Otherwise, I think we'll call it a night. And not a problem, not a problem. Anyone have a game? And if that's the last game, then that will be fine for tonight. I'll give it one more minute, about 60 more seconds. Okay, Ryota has a game, so let's go over this, and this will be the last game of the night. All right. Ryukun. I'm assuming Ryota's Ryukun. I like this. It's Kung Fu Panda versus Ryukun. I gotta show you guys this. Hold on. I gotta show you guys this. I really think it's entertaining. OGS stream. Oh, you can't see it. I can't see it. Okay, so Ryukun is white. I'm assuming that's Ryota. And he's like this in his picture. And I just find that so amusing. And he's facing Kung Fu Panda. I think just the players themselves are. I found it amusing. I thought it was funny. Okay, so let's go through the game. Oh, I should start a review, huh? Review this game. All right, you guys should be able to see it. So you're white. So we're gonna go over white's moves. Ooh, this move. Tenkyu. I thought you were stronger than Tenkyu. Are you Tenkyu? For some reason, I thought you were stronger than Tinku. This is interesting. Okay. So this is getting complicated. It says you're Tinku. Yeah. Okay, so you're like 4Q. 4Q is a little bit strong for me to teach, but I'll do my best. But this one is strange. So according to basics, we want open corners first and open sides, blah, blah, blah. And the idea is to get territory. So the idea of this move is actually to gain some influence when your opponent comes in. You want influence facing the left, but it can easily turn to the top if you make a Shamar 8 D17. But it's really looking for influence, right? However, Black played the cross Fuseki. Now, against the cross Fuseki, it's really difficult to make influence. Normally, it becomes a very territorial game and about playing very quickly, right? Fast-paced. So I wouldn't recommend an influential type move like this against the cross Fuseki. Just in theory. I think it's going to be slightly good for Black. All right, we see a normal move. What? That's not good. Just go ahead and exchange once, like so. And then you're good. And then you can snooky. Or you can just fix the corner. Like, even locally, this is good for white. Globally, maybe a move right here to stop the influence is going to get. But I think, actually, just fix. Black doesn't have any territory, so there's no reason... Nothing to fear yet. There's nothing to fear yet. So just go ahead and fix. Black doesn't have territory, and you do, so I think it's good for white. This is strange. Normally this is not good because first off, you're over concentrated, 3 stones jumping 1 space. Second off, you have some Aji right here and then a push right here. Third off, you're helping Black develop the center. So just fix and you're good. I think it's very simple to just fix. This is not good. You're helping Black make the center. So if you go here, there's an invasion at M3. But if you go here, you're making Black really, really thick. And you're not getting any points yet. You can still slide at Q2, maybe even 3-3, or maybe R2. There's still lots of slides, so White's territory is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and he's getting more and more over-concentrated. So the variations here don't look good for White. This cut seems like a little bit overplay due to the fact that when Black cuts and nobies, which he did, there's no move for White. And White still doesn't have the corner yet. So Black looks really thick here. So I think this result is good for Black. All right, push. This is from the inside. I would rather be on the outside, so I would prefer a clamp. And then like that. I think a clamp's better. Ooh, okay, so that's a soft move. On the right side, you can now go here and get some points. So I think his move is a little bit soft. On the bottom, I think the move is P2. So this looks like overplay as well because he can just ladder this and you're not going to run with N5 because it's next to thickness. So this looks like overplay. Running next to thickness is also overplay. All right, now we see a normal move, but we can see that White hardly has any points in that corner. And Black got a lot of influence. So the result is definitely good for Black. Pincer here is unnecessary. Just go for points. Fix yourself, get your base. Even if Black goes here. Black already had this, right? So it's just 6 or 7 points for Black, and you already got like 5 points here, plus some influence. So I think this is already good enough for White. It's probably an even result locally. Globally, yeah, Black's good, but that's because of this corner. Locally, though, I think this is good enough. And then later you have an invasion here. If you're worried about this, don't be, because if he plays this way, he still owes a move. And then you could just come in and reduce later. Right? He's trying to build this as large as possible. So maybe you can just play it this way. You get a lot of points, he gets a lot of points, and then later you can just reduce. Or maybe here. But I think if you see a variation like this, you're like, oh no, Black's getting way too much. True, black has more than white. You're not wrong. But the left variation isn't the problem. The problem is still the right variation. So the thing is, I think you're playing something like this because you think black's getting too much. Well, he's getting too much because you made a mistake. But when your opponent gets too much because you made a mistake, overplaying to stop him from getting that is not going to help. It's just going to make it worse. You still have to play normal moves unless you play a desperate move. And this looks like a desperate move. But you're not at the desperate phase yet, or in the desperate step yet. Desperate step means you're about to lose, right? You're not about to lose. Yes, your opponent's going to get more, but that's because you messed up on the right. It doesn't mean you need to mess up again on the left. And this looks like you're going to mess up again because it's getting another weak group next to thickness. So there's no reason to go so deep. Black played here, but now you easily get to jump out. So this black, I think black messed up a little bit because he could have easily attacked you very severely. I would consider, I'm not sure if it's good or not. I would consider making a base here and try maybe playing a little bit of a sabaki. Because if he plays this way and you try to run this way, maybe you look really heavy. So I would try to make a base. This cut looks a little too direct and overplay because you're too weak to pull it off. There's too many weaknesses to pull it off. So what if black simply plays this way and like this? Are you alive? I don't think so. I think white's gonna die. I played this way, so looks like you got a little bit lucky here. You still have lots of weakness, so I think black's messing up in the reading now, or in the attacking. So black relies on confusion in order to confuse his opponent, but now it looks like black is his attack is failing. So I think black needs to work on attacks. White, don't panic when you make a mistake. Don't panic and don't make it worse. So I think work on just playing more simple. Just more simpler moves and they're more effective. G2 is Sente. So I would go ahead and get G2 because you want to get moves like these now while they're Sente. Later, this will definitely be a Gote move. But right now, you're threatening to make eyes and reduce his eyes, and definitely, if black wants to attack you, he has to fix, right? With something like this. So, or actually, something like tiger's mouth. Maybe he needs eyes. The shape looks really bad for black. There's so many weaknesses here. Anyway, the point is, a move like one is Sente right now, so I go ahead and get it while you can. Don't add 2 dead stones. This one is not important. This is just Aji. There's nothing here that you can do to black directly. Therefore, you're just adding more stones to this group, and you're not helping this group. Because what happens when black hanes and cuts? This looks very, very dangerous. And, even if it somehow... No, I just think it's too dangerous for white to play this way. I would save these 2 stones as Aji. And just threaten to save them. And then just jump out. Right? Just use them as Aji and then get your group out. And I think it's much better. Here it looks like unnecessary stones are you're trying to save unnecessary stones. G2. Good timing there. Good timing. Hane. Yeah, Hane's good. Double Hane. I think you can double Hane. Can you double Hane? I think so. Then Atari, and then go here. Maybe it's overplay. Maybe it's overplay. If it's overplay, then just jump. If it's overplay, then just jump. Black needs to use his thickness. Ooh. Now just push up. And then jump over into the right. And black is weak. Black made a mistake. This shape is too soft. That's not Sente. Weaknesses first. You're not alive. And black's not alive. So what about a move over here? I'd say 4th line. What about a move over here? Attack black while defending yourself. Now, I want to do this, but I'm worried this is too weak. So that's why I wanted moves like this first. I want to fight with weaknesses first. I feel like dealing with the weaknesses first. That's kind of the basics, is look at weaknesses first and do something with them. It's very difficult though because you have to read very carefully. This is a normal move, and I feel like you're still weak, so weaknesses first. That's overplay. Yep. This is a trick move. Good. And this is weird. Yeah, it looks like good for you. Yeah, it looks good for you. Careful though. Just pincer. And then he runs and you run. And you destroyed his corner pretty much for free. Because he got what? 3 points? So just destroy his corner. So when you're weak. So here's a common idea. When you have some weakness on this side and your opponent is attacking you on this side, sometimes taking the base on this side, forcing this to be weak, will help this group because now these two groups are both weak and they both run away and get strong. So sometimes taking the base and forcing him to be weak with you is a good way to attack, because when both are weak, both will get strong while they're running. So sometimes making him weak is a good idea. Be careful here, black. Black shape is questionable. Here, you're helping him make points, so this is not good. Black's getting fourth line territory, so I think you got a little tricked. Push first, and then fix. White's shape's not so good. Just jump here. Just run. Just run. It looks like some shape issues. I would say get some teaching games more often. This is the shape here. So let's see. What is black's biggest problem? Or what is white's biggest problem? Sorry. White's biggest problems. I would say the biggest problems are, first, simplify your game. If you're trying too hard to prevent your opponent's plan. True, his plan is annoying, but you're trying too hard to stop it, and you're not getting anything yourself. It's okay if black gets a little, as long as you get something too. And sometimes you getting more is better than what black's getting. So here in the bottom right, your result wasn't good because you're trying too hard to stop black from getting stuff. And the left side, your shape wasn't good because you're trying too hard to stop black from getting stuff. And that's the first issue I see. The second issue was you're ignoring weaknesses. So you need to stop doing that as soon as possible, because you're almost a Dawn level, and Dawns can punish weakness. They're like hounds. They can smell the weakness. Leaving weakness against Dawns is very scary. So watch the weakness. And 3, it looks like your shapes need a bit of work. The way to fix shapes is, 1, review pro games and look at their shapes and how they attack and how they defend. And 2, get teaching games. Play stronger players and have them show you what's a better way to defend yourself or attack. What's some better shapes to play. So pro games and teaching games will get you better shapes. So the 3 things again was, don't worry about your opponent getting stuff. Don't try so hard to stop your opponent from getting stuff. You're trying too hard and not getting anything yourself. Make sure you get stuff. So simplify your game and just place basic shapes and get stuff. 2, defend your weaknesses. And 3, shapes. And I think that's something you can learn from this game. All right, and we'll go ahead and stop it here because I think that's the biggest mistakes or the biggest things to learn from this game. All right, so that'll be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I should be on again Thursday. So, and don't forget, tomorrow is Batsko's stream, so check him out. He's also a really good streamer. And yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the reviews, and have a good night.